Jayo Yashodanandana Jayo Brajajanaranjana Jayo Yashodanandana Jayo Brajajanaranjana Jayo Yashodanandana Jayo Brajajanaranjana Jayo Yamunatiravanachari Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Guru Deva Jaya Guru Deva शरणाम संकीर्तन की, शिल प्रभुपाद की। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृतं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जायेमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Yeah. Can do that. नाभिनन्दे ध्रुवमृत्युम् अध्रुवं वास्य जीवितम् कालं परं प्रतीक्षेत भूतानां प्रभवाप्ये। नाभिनन्दे ध्रुवमृत्युम् अध्रुवं वास्य जीवितम् कालं परं प्रतीक्षेत भूतानां प्रभवाप्ययम्। नाभिनन्दे ध्रुवमृत्युम् अध्रुवं वास्य जीवितम् कालं परं प्रतीक्षेत भूतानां प्रभवाप्ययम्। नाभिनन्दे ध्रुवं मृत्युम् अध्रुवं वास्य जीवितम् कालं परं प्रतीक्षेत भूतानां प्रभवाप्ययम्। Anyone from Mataji's? Okay. Na, not. Abhinandit, one should praise. Dhruvam, sure. Mrutyum, death. Adhruvam, not sure. Va, either. Asya, of this body. Jivitam, the duration of life. Kalam, eternal time. Param, supreme. Pratiksheta, one must observe. Bhutanam, of the living entities. Prabhava, manifestation. Apyam, disappearance. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. Since the material body is sure to be vanquished and the duration of one's life is not fixed, neither death nor life is to be praised. Rather, one should observe the eternal time factor in which the living entity manifests himself and disappears. Purport. The living entities in the material world, not only at the present but also in the past, have been involved in trying to solve the problems of birth and death. Some stress death and the point to the illusory existence of everything material, whereas others stress life, trying to preserve it perpetually and enjoy it to the best of their ability. Both of them are fools and rascals. It is advised that one observe the eternal time factor, which is the cause of the material body's appearance and disappearance, and that one observe the living entity's entanglement in this time factor. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur therefore sings in his Gitavali, Anadi karma phale, padi bha varnava jale, tari bare na dekhi upaya. One should observe the activities of eternal time, which is the cause of birth and death. Before the creation of the present millennium, the living entities were under the influence of the time factor. And within the time factor, the material world comes into existence and is again annihilated. Bhutva bhutva praliyate. Being under the control of the time factor, the living entities appear and die, life after life. This time factor is the impersonal representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who gives the living entities conditioned by material nature a chance to emerge from this nature by surrendering to Him. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavancha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tan Swadivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamcha Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashat Deshatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padaite Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namine Gauratvise Namaha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyasya Krupa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Since the material body is sure to be vanquished, and the duration of one's life is not fixed, neither death nor life is to be praised. Rather, one should observe the eternal time factor in which the living entity manifests himself and disappears. Hare Krishna. So first of all, I would like to welcome all the devotees for this morning Srimad Bhagavatam class. Also, I would like to take the blessings of all the Vaishnavas who are sitting over here so that I can glorify the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, as all of us, we read the purport. Here, the title of the chapter is Behavior of the Perfect Person. So the verse 1 to 10, it talks about the qualities of a sannyasi. Okay. Till now we have completed 1 to 5. Saturday, Revati Prabhu gave wonderful class. Explain how we can be attached to reading the scriptures. So we can understand the conduct of sannyasi. Okay, 1 to 3. And the 4 5 continues with that. And 4 to 6 is a consciousness of sannyasi. So today's our verse is 6th. 7 to 10 other qualities of a sannyasi. So verse 6, basically the theme is observe the power of time that causes appearance and disappearance of all beings instead of praising the uncertain life and death. So 2 themes we are going to discuss today. The objective of our class will be about the consciousness of a sannyasi and how we can apply at our level. And second, the power of time, how it is important. So you must have observed here that when Srila Prabhupada write in translation and purport, 7 times this word has come. Which word? Time factor. I don't know how many of you notice. Okay. So he writes, one should observe the eternal time factor. Second, he writes, it is advised that one observes the eternal time factor in the purport. One observes the living entities' entanglement in this time factor. The living entities were under the influence of the time factor. Within the time factor, the material world comes into existence and again annihilated, being under the control of the time factor. And this time factor is the impersonal representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So very beautifully, so as we understood, the Prabhupada emphasizes here about time factor, we can understand the importance of it. Correct? So here, the essence of Krishna consciousness is explained actually in this verse, basically. Just one verse is sufficient. Because Bhagavad Gita also talks about 5 things: Kala, Karma, Ishvara, Jiv, Prakriti. So Kala is also very much mentioned there, very elaborately. So that's the importance of time factor. Once Bhakti Charu Maharaj, he was reading Chaitanya Charitamrita for Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada stopped for some time. And it said, see, our scriptures are so wonderful. They are like nectar, correct? Because we can read and nourish from any section. And all the 18,000 verses of the Bhagavatam, they are not different than Krishna. Rather, Prabhupada said every word in the shloka, in the verse is Krishna. So you can count how many names of Krishna has come there, like that. So these words of the scripture, these are not just sound vibration which are coming from the spiritual sky, but rather they help us, the living entity, to perfect their life and go back home, back to Godhead. So here one thing is emphasized in this verse, about the birth and the death. Okay, birth, the middle portion, what we live, and the death. So we can understand the birth and death, they are important for certain aspect of the people. Prabhupada mentions that, we'll see. Okay, but what's more important is that how we travel in the vehicle of time, which is called as a Kala. That's very important. Because time is constantly flowing actually. Okay, time has 3 factors, basically the future, present and the past. In short, we can say time has only 2 factors, future and the past, correct? Because the future is traveling to the past through the present. As soon as I use the word present, the present has gone. I use the word P has gone, correct? Na? You can see after this class, whenever we put this class on the YouTube, after the class ends, immediately the message comes below. Uploaded 1 minute before, uploaded 10 minutes before, 2 hours before, okay? Then 2 months before, 6 months before, 9 years before. Jai Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra Jagannath Baldev Subhadra Gaur Nita hai Bhagwan ki. Correct, na? So immediately the next moment the present become past. So we have only, we can say, the future and the past. Present is a fleeting concept. Fleeting, we call it in Hindi as Kshanabhangur, Kshanik in Marathi way. Okay? Present doesn't remain present in the material world. Exactly opposite takes place in the spiritual world. Their present remain present. Everything is eternal, everything is present only. We'll understand. So eternally present, we can say, like that. And we can say that time is running out at every moment. Correct? So, as it is mentioned in this verse, that the living entities, they take birth, they live for some time, again they leave. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there is one verse that Yatha prayan shroto vegana baluka sayujante vyujante tatha kalena dehina. O king, as small particles of sand sometimes come together and are sometimes separated due to the force of the waves, the living entities who have accepted sometimes come together and are sometimes separated by the force of time. Force of time. So Narada and Angira Muni, they are talking to Chitraketu and they are telling, okay, that how living entities, they come together. Just like in the river, the sand particle or the leaves come together, they remain for some time, and by the waves they are separated. Exactly in the same way, all of us, we have manifested, we have come together for some time and will be separated forcibly by the force of the time, like that. So here we understand that all this separation which is happening in the force of time, it is happening as Bhagavad Prakrute Kriyamanani Gune Karmani Sarvasha Ahankara Vibuddhatma Kartamiti Manyata. The spirit soul is bewildered by the influence of the false ego, thinks himself the doer of the activities that are in actuality carried out by the three modes of material nature. So these two factors are very important, okay, to bring us together and to separate us, guna and karma. Okay, but this guna and karma, they are also getting by the influence by the third factor, that is a time factor, that is a kala. That also we have to remember, because material nature is in relation with the kala. Okay, and what is this kala? Prabhupada writes in the purport, it's an impersonal manifestation or the representation of the supreme personality of Godhead, kala. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Kalosmi, I am the kal, I am the time I am, like that. So Prabhupada says in the purport very beautifully, there are two aspects. The Mayavadis or this impersonalists, they are more concerned about the liberation. They don't bother about the birth actually. Okay, they say that, okay, whenever birth is taken place, we don't want to come again into this material world. They have that conception, and they are mad with the suffering. They are really fed up with the sufferings of the material world. So they say that we want liberation, we want mukti, we just want, we don't want to be here. That's one understanding. Another understanding is about the materialistic person, Prabhupada writes. Materialistic person, they make all the comfort arrangement in this world, all the fun, all the nice, what we can say, the enjoyment in this world, and they don't want to live. Rather, they never think we have to live actually. Okay? They never think that death will come. For them, the death is like something anticlimax. Correct? How suddenly something can happen. They don't relate. So Prabhupada said these two categories, what Prabhupada calls, these are fools and rascals. Correct? But devotees of the Lord, for them, the life is like Mama Janmani Janmanishware Bhavatat Bhaktir Ahetukyue. So what is this devotee's prayer? Because devotee's prayer is that I want to render service, okay, in this material world. Okay, I want to be always engaged in the Krishna's service, in the devotee's service. That's a prayer of devotees. I don't mind to be here in the material world. If I get Krishna's service, I'll be happy. Then question arises in our mind, then why Prabhupada emphasizes that finish your business and go back home, back to Godhead. So here Prabhupada wants to give a very clear and a very matured and understanding is that when Prabhupada says that go back home, back to Godhead, finish your business, he wants to inspire people, okay, to stop their sense gratification, the tendency for their sense gratification, and become serious about spiritual life and become a pure devotee. Because once somebody becomes a pure devotee, then only he can see Pandita Samadarshana. He becomes equipoise. Okay, for him, the birth, death, or the life doesn't make any difference. Whether he is serving in the material world, whether he is serving in the spiritual world. One comes on the pure devotional platform, okay, one becomes a pure devotee, that doesn't make any difference to him. So that is highlighted over here. That's the consciousness of sannyasi. Okay, that consciousness one should aspire for. Everyone should aspire to become a pure devotee. Why? Because once we develop that consciousness, like Prabhupada says in one of the purport, that when Parikshit Maharaj got a notice that he will die in the 7 days, from there itself he went to the Sukdev Goswami to hear the Srimad Bhagavatam. He never said, I'll go and settle and tell the sons and take a meeting and I'll wind up everything. Correct, na? Because in the material world, the more we expand, actually more it takes to wind up. I remember when my father left body, it took almost for me the 6 months to wind up actually. What are the different things he has done, he has expanded like that. The more we expand, more time to wind up. But Parikshit Maharaj, he just next moment he was there. So Prabhupada writes there, it's because of the consciousness. So like Revatipati Prabhu was also sharing on Saturday that Vanaprastha, Brahmachari, Sannyasi, Grihastha, okay? Sannyasi, it's not like changing of the cloth, correct? Na? Anyone can come to that level. How? By the consciousness, by developing that consciousness. That's very important. So we can render devotional service to Krishna, which is non-different from the spiritual sky, because there is very thin line between the spiritual sky and material sky, or the spiritual nature and material nature. When we put ourselves in the center, it's material nature. When we put Krishna in the center, it's a spiritual nature, correct? Like that. So it is not some geographical consideration. Okay, the material nature is here, spiritual nature is there. Okay, right now what we are setting, this temple hall is not different than the spiritual world. Why we are not able to relate? Because we have not developed that consideration of the consciousness. Okay, we have developed that difference, something material, something spiritual, like that. Okay, but once we keep Krishna in the center and develop that consciousness and become equipoised in the life and understand only to satisfy Krishna is the whole and sole goal of the life, okay, that means we understand that we are also in the spiritual world. Correct? Like when my Gurudev's 75th birthday was there, that time his Radhesham Prabhu gave very wonderful offering, and he said that I want to come again and again in this world. Why? Because I want to preach to the youths. Okay, I'll be happy to more. Okay, like that. Once he said during our interactions also, that I'll be happy to give the device session again and again, like that. Okay, so we can see the consciousness the person develops as he becomes serious in the spiritual life, like that. But what if person goes in the spiritual world and doesn't fit there, or doesn't develop that consciousness of serving? And one of the classical example is about Durvas Muni. Correct? Because once you go to the spiritual world and doesn't have an attitude of serving there, you are unfit there, you'll be thrown out, you'll be kicked away here, because you don't have developed that consciousness. Durvas Muni offended Amrish Maharaj, and what happened? The Sudarshan Chakra came behind him. He was such a mystic yogi, he was so powerful, he ran faster than the Sudarshan Chakra. First he went to the Shiva Loka, Lord Shiva could not help him. Then he went to Vaikuntha Loka, Lord Narayan was there. He said, I cannot help. Okay, only you can go and beg the forgiveness from the Amrish Maharaj. Then only there is a possibility or the hope. So immediately he came. He was in Vaikuntha. Immediately he came. Again on the earthly planets, he paid the obeisances and begged forgiveness. And Amrish Maharaj said, I am very sorry. Okay, I have to, you have to face so much difficulty because of me. Okay, so that's the nature of the Vaishnava. He did not took any offense actually. That's the nature of Vaishnava. So here point we are saying Durvas Muni, although he was in the spiritual world, but why he couldn't remain there? Because he was not having the nature of service. So he has to come back again here, like that we can see. So therefore, another aspect we can see about the absolute truth. Okay, in the spiritual world, only absolute truth can be there. What is absolute truth? Jivere Swarupo hai Krishnere Nityadas. Okay, if we don't consider that, then it's untruth. Correct? Na? If we don't have that understanding that my nature is to serve Krishna, that is untruth. Then we cannot remain in the spiritual world. Again, we come back in this material world, like that. So therefore, we are sent in the material world in the prison house, as we are moving in the prison house very happily here. So Srila Prabhupada said, if you are not serving Krishna, that means you are serving Maya. Correct? Like that. Like if you want to see the lotus feet of the Krishna, it's not that easy. Correct? Na? All of us, we know that we have to love Krishna. Love means there is anxiety, there is a sacrifice. On so much sacrifice we have to do. Correct? Na? Sometimes when somebody is in stress, we tell that person, you please start chanting Hare Krishna. Okay? Then slowly he increases the chanting, and rather afterwards he comes to us and Prabhuji, chanting of this 2 rounds, chanting of all these things itself is causing stress to me. Correct? Na? So then we have to tell, okay, how the remedies for the disease is the only will recover you. If you chant this, it's only the cure, it's only the medicine for that. But it will take time for that. Correct? We tell and we console that person, like that. So we have to develop that attitude of Nirantar service. Correct? Na? In the spiritual, recently we celebrated Pushyabhishek. Same is there in the spiritual world. Suppose we remove the petals, there is a hill, okay, flower का एक बड़ा ये है, and we remove the petals and everything is over. जो भी flower थे खत्म हो गए, everything is over. Then what happened? Again another heap of flower comes there. If you finish that, another heap of flower comes there. Okay. Here what happened? After Bhagavatam class we go for breakfast, again we come, again join, again we take break. So we take break, we do a service in the antar, there is an interval. But in spiritual world there is no interval. Once we develop that consciousness and I can render service nirantar, we are eligible to go in the spiritual world like that. So we can understand this Maya has a trident, okay, in his hand and kills, okay, all the living entities with a different threefold miseries actually. The more we try to enjoy, the more we suffer. That's the law of nature. For every action, there is equal and opposite reaction like that. So how we can save from this? So the very beautiful example is given about the prison house. Just like in the prison house, we have a head of the prison house, then we have an in charge of the prison house, we have a warden of the prison house, then we have the different caretakers of the prison house. So main prisoners are inside, but these other in charges, they are like caretakers of the prison house. They can be there on duty in the prison house, but they can go out, they can free themselves and go out of the prison, correct? Because they are serving the king, they are serving the main person of the in charge of the prison house. They are executing their duty, okay, towards that king. Exactly in the same way, when we do our duty towards the Lord, towards Krishna, okay, we are acting on behalf of Krishna. Although we are in this prison, we are in the material world. Okay, so we can go out, we can come. That's the beauty of this prison house. When we are surrendered to the Krishna fully, otherwise not, then we will be inside the prison house only. So we can see here, sometimes somebody takes birth, we become happy. Soul has taken birth. Not the soul, soul has accepted new body, we can say. Correct, na? We become happy. And what we do, we train that soul, okay, to chant Hare Krishna and develop love for Krishna. Correct. Sometimes somebody dies. So that time also we say that, oh, somebody dies, now he can get a fresh body and he can go to the higher destination and continue his Krishna consciousness in a better situation like that. So that understanding we have. So here we can say, when we practice Krishna consciousness, only two things are guaranteed. Either we go back home, back to Godhead, or we can go to the higher destination and there continue our service in Krishna consciousness way. So here we can understand, Prabhupada quotes in the purport about the song of Bhaktivinoda Thakur, that Anadi karma phale pori bhavaranaya jale tari bare na dekhi upay. Ei vishaya hala hale divanishi hiya jwale mana kabu sukha nahi pe. Translation: as a result of my selfish activities which are without beginning, I have fallen into ocean of material existence, and I see no means of deliverance from this great ocean of nescience. Day and night, my heart burns from the vicious poison of these worldly activities. And due to this, my mind never finds any real happiness. And it goes on, there are 4 stanzas. I have just taken the first one. So that also tells that what is the condition of living entities. So much suffering, wants to go out, wants to stop, but unable to do on its own. The only hope is one surrender to the Guru Padashre, Guru and Krishna, like that we can say. So here, we can say one more thing Prabhupada quotes in the purport about this bhutva bhutva praliyate. Bhuta gramasa evaya bhutva bhutva praliyate ratra game vashpartha prabhavatta haragame. Again and again when Brahma's day arrives, all living entities come into being, and with the arrival of Brahma's night, they are helplessly annihilated. Bhutva bhutva. And you know the Bhaktivedanta Maharaj, okay, got diagnosed with some test, some small test, and the small test caused the devastation. Okay, some sugar test and the diabetes, and caused the devastation in his life. Correct, na? That he has to, he got a skin cancer, and he has to remove his leg, one leg, left leg, and then he has to put artificial leg, and then he has to go to the rehabilitation center. But Bhakti Charu Maharaj, whenever he met, he was ecstatic. Bhakti Tirth Maharaj was ecstatic. Okay, although externally look, okay, he's having artificial leg. Rather, latter thing has happened so worse that his collarbone has broke. That means he was completely bedridden. When the devotee has to take to the nature's call, they have to lift him and take. Actually, that was his condition. But if you see his photos and his discourses, even my Gurudev met him in the last days. He was ecstatic. He was completely absorbed in the Krishna consciousness way. And Bhakti Charu Maharaj, he writes so beautifully about the dealings and his consciousness in his letter, and updating to GBC, we get thrilled. My God, what a level of consciousness these two sannyasis are carrying, what we are talking over here. And such a powerful leader. He was preaching to all the heads of the state, different university and academician. That was a surrender of his life, correct? He has one book is also there that is about the lotus, black lotus, correct? Yeah, like that. Such a personality. So here we can see with such a practical thing that how the consciousness of a sannyasi, okay, is so much evolved. And all these Prabhupada disciples, they are showing by their example. Yesterday, Indranumna Maharaj was there. Whenever he comes, we have seen his Bhagavatam class. First half an hour, he does Kirtan only. Correct, na? He brings everybody, old, new devotee, everybody on the same page. And then he gives discourse. And we become fully absorbed. It was so nectarian yesterday. Correct? So, we can see that how this time factor is so important in our life. So, therefore, we should always think not to waste our time. So we can see that this time factor, what Prabhupada has given the explanation over here, manifestation, birth, death and different aspect. We can understand the Narada Muni's experience in the Dwarka. When Narada Muni went to the Dwarka, he was visiting different palaces of the Krishna, and Krishna was doing different activities. Correct, na? Narada Muni was not astonished to see different Krishna. He has already seen. He wanted to see the gopis, this thing, correct, na? Dance and Rasalila. So he became Naradiya Gopi, and there he saw actually everything. Correct? And he saw different Krishna dancing with different gopis. Even in Brahma Vimon Leela, he saw different Krishna. He heard about different Krishna because he is a son of a Brahma only. Correct? He was not astonished with that. He was astonished with that how Krishna in different palaces at the same time carrying different activities. Okay? Like that. So you can see somewhere Krishna is, okay, chanting Gayatri, somewhere Krishna is, okay, talking with the daughters, somewhere fixing the marriage. He was carrying different activities. But Narada Muni is entering into the parallel manifestations of the Dwaraka at different time zones. Okay. Sorry, actually on Google I tried to search, but Google also got confused. Different parallel manifestation of the universe and Dwaraka. He was giving the same only again and again. So you can see at different countries also, okay, right now here we have this temperature. If I travel to UK, if I travel another country, Poland, different places, we have a different temperature and different state of a day. Like that. But can you imagine, same thing is available and to enter for us at parallelly. Amazing, na? And that was available for the Narada Muni. So he was astonished with that. Dwarka was manifested in at different time zones at the same time. Okay, like that. So we can see such things can happen only in the spiritual world because there is an eternal time factor which is not present here in the material world. What we can see. So here we can see that every moment what we have is a very sacred moment. Correct, na? Like Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur mentioned that there are many forms of Krishna, okay, and many names of Krishna. And many forms of Krishna, they exist in the different universes, different planets, okay. Some planet we have a small Krishna, some planets we have a younger Krishna, some planets we have a Kaumara Krishna, like that. Different planets are there at different places. Even Jiva Goswami mentions that, that how at every single day or every single moment there is a Janmashtami, correct, na? At now what happened when we celebrate Janmashtami at ISKCON, what happened? There is a Janmashtami at every place. Hardly some difference of here and there, correct, like that. But can you imagine, there is a Janmashtami, at the same time in the camp temple there is a Tithi is about the Gaur Purnima, there is Vishal Nagar temple Tithi about the Radhastami and like that. At the same time zone, very difficult, na, to conceive all these things. Something which is difficult, that's the spiritual world only. Correct, na? So here we understand that even the Ekadashi, we celebrate on every 15 days. Can you imagine every day there is a Ekadashi? Sometimes we wait, I will start something on from the Ekadashi, something good on the Ekadashi. Correct, na? We wait for 15 days. But in spiritual world, you don't have to wait. Correct, na? Every day there is a Ekadashi. Some are scared actually. Don't worry. So, we can say every moment there can be Janmashtami, every moment there can be Radhastami, every moment there can be Janmashtami, like that. So, we can say the Krishna and the time factor is very much well explained in the Bhagavad Gita. I just mentioned the different shlokas where I have come across, and in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the Brahma Samhita, because Krishna does different activities at the right time. Okay, morning activities he will do in the morning, afternoon activities in the afternoon, evening activities in the evening, like that. Because Krishna is like Jagat Acharya. He is teaching by his own example, okay, when to do what activity. Okay, therefore it's very important we respect Krishna in a deity form, Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra, in his holy name, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And the time factor, okay, also we uh, in the time factor also we respect Krishna like that. Okay, we can see yesterday Narada Muni Maharaj was telling that he gave sannyas to one of his disciple and he insisted him that can you show your photo in the when you were at the 18 age, correct na? Like that. And when he saw, he couldn't realize the same person, correct? Same thing happened with us also. We are familiar with this picture, correct na? We can fit all of us in the which category we lie in this picture, and we can see our photo of 15-20 years back, will not realize it's we. Of course only we realize, our parents realize, but if you show somebody, they will not understand, correct na? That's the change, that's the nature of the world. So time has effect on us like that, but that same time is not having effect on Krishna. So we can see here that the devotees have different mood in serving Krishna. Somebody wants to serve Krishna when child is infant. Somebody wants to serve Krishna when 3 years old, 7 years old, like that. So there are different planets where Krishna is there. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explained, different planets where Krishna is there at different age. And when somebody has desire, I want to be friend of Krishna when Krishna is 7 years old, he goes to that planet. I want to feed Krishna when Krishna is 3 months old, he goes to that planet, like that. So in the eternal time factor, all these manifestations are going on simultaneously, like that. So that's the, what we can say, the time factor which is being spoken over here. So if you can see, for a devotee, death is not fearsome, correct? Na? Sometimes we have seen one example is there, one devotee was about to die and he got very ecstatic because he was saying, to same Radha Krishna which I was serving, I am going to now see face to face, that he was saying, like that. Okay. Because for devotee, the body changes, the bhav or the consciousness remains same. Krishna says, Neha Vikramana, whenever you die, I preserve all your account, spiritual account as it is. Correct, like that. But the same factor, time factor, when we talk about, Lord Kapila says that this time, the sun is fearful of the time because sun has to rise and set. The Yamaraj is fearful of the time, he has to do his duty. Okay, but sometimes as a devotee, we are not fearful of the time. Prabhupada said we should really be fearful about a time that we are getting old and we can become more serious about spiritual practice. But as a devotee, yes, we worship in the Krishna, okay, but Krishna appears in the time factor, but we don't fear because we understood the life is a journey where I have to develop, uplift my consciousness. That's the purpose of our voice training, in the temple training and whatever education and different courses we do. We want to uplift our consciousness. It's a training of consciousness. Correct? That's the whole culture what we have here. So we can say that people want to kill their time and the modern distractions. Correct? We can see like somebody want to kill time. We cannot kill the time. Time can kill you. Correct? Na? Prabhupada founder Acharya of International Society Krishna Consciousness, he used every moment so sacred actually. Morning walk, conversation, in the night writing. If you see its schedule, it was so tight. Okay, but still Prabhupada was have a time for small things. Okay, like removing the speck, keeping in the box. Okay, cleaning it. Means if you see the Prabhupada's life, he was having time for everything. Although he is a founder Acharya of International Society for Krishna Consciousness. But how he was having? Because they respected the time. Okay, Prabhupada said, the 6 Goswamis also. Okay, so if you see their life actually, they never wasted their time. Chanakya Pandit says, Prabhupada quotes that even 1,000,000 gold coins, we can't get one moment back. So don't waste the time. Okay, and nowadays we have these gadgets, correct? Na? YouTubers, YouTube shorts, life is getting shorter and shorter. Instagram, phone time, gossiping, chit-chatting, WhatsApp. Okay, the real may be fake. Sometimes I've seen one man was talking on a phone looking at the mirror, and it got so much like actually. And we are wasting time to see that video, wasting human life actually to see that video. Okay, and the YouTuber, we are giving our portion of our life to that YouTuber. We are so crazy. So human form of life is so important that we are not understanding. Okay, so therefore this modern distraction we have to avoid. And when we talk about the quality and quantity of life, we are not here to add years to our life, but we are here to add life to the years. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he lived out 48 years. But what a mission he has given to all of us. Shankaracharya for 32 years. Okay. Even in Maharashtra, we have Sant Jnaneshwar. Sant Taneshwar, he lived for 21 years. At the age of 16, he wrote the discourse on the conclusions on the Bhagavad Gita. He was having Brahma and Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita at the tip of his tongue actually. His father was sannyasi, but Krishna came in the dream of his father and told, you have to change your ashram and keep this news between you and me only. Can you imagine that time? He changed his ashram, he married, and begetted the son, and this son was Sant Taneshwar. His whole family was exiled. People ridicule and everything. But this Sant Taneshwar, he became so profound, he was such a brilliant. Once he touched the buffalo and told the Gita, all the buffalo has spoken 700 verses of the Gita. Everybody was stunned. And they asked all the smart Brahmanas, who is your guru? They said Taneshwar. So we can see the greatest gift you can give someone is your time, because when you are giving someone your time, you are giving them the portion of your life that you will never get back, we can see. So what we have to the practical application. So Krishna is not saying I am beyond the time, correct na? Let me be disorganized. No, Vaishnava has to be organized, uses the time effectively. One of the symptoms of Vaishnava is avyartha kalvatam. Person gives importance, never waste a time actually, like that. Our life is like a train. When we travel, we board the train, it's like a birth. We are in the train, it's like a life. We get down from the train, it's death. But as a devotee, when we enter in the train, normal people, they waste their time. But as a devotee, what we do? We read, we prepare for the class, we hear, we distribute the book. When station comes, we get down, we do Harinam Sankirtan. Correct, na? Like that, we do. That's a practical application, like that. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he carried the wristwatch. That time, wristwatch not, he was carrying in the pocket actually. But he was always, particular about the time actually. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, such a busy acharya, he chanted 64 rounds, wrote 144 books, 13 children, because he valued the time. He wrote books. He was having revolving bookshelf actually. He was sitting in between them so that he will not waste time getting the book and finding where is which book. He was just revolve and he was getting the book and he was writing like that. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also, if you say, he used to hold his tongue. Actually, and whenever he was to go to the nature's call, he was holding the tongue. But I think the small child, later he became Gopal Guru Maharaj, Goswami, correct na? He told that, that don't stop chanting, you can chant even in the restroom. Correct na? Like that. So, Prabhupada writes there, time is precious, there is no consideration of the time and place. Prabhupada says there is no hard and fast rule to chant, like that. So, we can see here that how we can acknowledge the importance of time in our life and respect the time and move ahead in the life. So just to conclude is that the Narada Muni is one of the best example. He is like the leader or the acharyas for all sannyasis. Correct? So today's shloka, if you see, second line, Kala Param Pratikshita. And there is a shloka where Namani Anantasya Hatatrapa Patan Guhyani Bhadrani Krutani Chasmaran Ga Paryatam Tustamana Gataspro Kala Pratikshana Vimoda Vimutsara. The last line is what? Kala Pratikshana. So Namani means chanting the holy name. Anantasya, unlimitedly. Hatatrapa, without considering all the material formalities of this world. Patana, reciting, repeating. Guhyani, mysteriously. Bhadrani, benefactory to all. Krutani, by his activities. Smaran, remembering. Gam means on the earthly planet. Paryatam means traveling from one place to another. Tushtamana, completely satisfied. Gataspruha, free from all the material desires. Kala, time. Pratikshana, awaiting. Vimoda means without any pride. And Vimatsara, without any envious. Actually, why this verse is very important, personally I am very much fascinated, because Narada Muni, how he became Narada Muni, he explains in this verse. It's amazing, na? In the first life, Narada Muni was Upabharana. Correct, na? He was Gandharva in the spiritual world, in the Swargaloka. But he made one offenses. Mistake kiya unhone. When the holy kirtan was going, he chanted the glorification of demigod. So they cursed him. You'll take birth in Shudra family. That is the first life. In the second life, he came as a son of a maid servant. Correct, na? Dasi Putra. But all the Bhaktivedants were coming to their house and he was getting Uchchista. He was just 5-year-old. But once what happened? The snake has killed the mother. Snake bite. Mother has left. 5-year-old boy. He was so matured. He took this as an opportunity. Went in the north direction. And perfected his life. And he's saying in the second life, he has done all these things. And in the third life, he became Narada Muni. Correct? So what he has done in second life? Wherever he traveled on the earthly planets, he repeated the glories of the Lord. He sang the glories of the Lord. He chanted the glories of the Lord. Hatatrapa. Hatatrapa means free from all the material formalities. No material formalities. That's the sannyasi. Correct? Na? Then free, gataspurva, free from all material desires. Correct? Sannyasis don't have material desire. So once we come to that level of consciousness, then we can understand. You can see Prabhupada, right? Thus, I began the chanting of the holy name and fame of the Lord by repeated recitation and ignoring all formalities of the material world. Such chanting and remembering of the transcendental pastime of the Lord are benefactory. So doing, I travel all over the earth and fully satisfied and humble and envious. These last two qualities are very difficult to achieve. It takes sometimes years together. Which are those? Vimodo vimatsara. Okay, becoming prideless and becoming non-envious. See, the Prabhupada writes first line so beautiful, how this verse is important for us. The life of a sincere devotee of the Lord is thus explained in the nutshell by Narada Muni. All of us, we want to become a sincere devotee, sincere practitioner. And Narada Muni is explaining here how one should live our life. Narada Muni also got a curse. He will not stay 3 days at one place because he took that very positively. I will not become asakta. So generally in sannyasis also, you see in ISKCON, they don't stay at one place. They travel. Correct, na? So Narada Muni by personal example, such a devotee after his initiation by the Lord or his bona fide representative takes very seriously chanting of the glories of the Lord and traveling all over the world so that others may also hear the glories of the Lord. Such devotees have no desire for material gain. They are conducted by one single desire to go back to Godhead. This awaits them in due course on quitting the material body. See, others people, they wait for the day. For devotee, okay, he doesn't have to wait. Okay, he's already perfected. Right now, he can go back home, back to Godhead. That is being said. Because they have the highest aim of life, going back to Godhead. They are never envious of anyone, nor they are proud of being eligible to go back to Godhead. Their only business is to chant and remember the holy name, fame and pastimes of the Lord. And according to the personal capacity to distribute the message for others' welfare without motive for material gain. Correct? So that each one of us have a responsibility when we are joined this mission of the movement, that we have to spread the message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and take part in the Prabhupada, taking shelter of the Prabhupada and a Guru by practicing. And once we develop this consciousness is nothing but the consciousness of sannyasi. So in conclusion, we have studied today, we have just seen today 2 aspects. One is about how we can uplift our consciousness. Okay, and what is the right consciousness? What is the consciousness of a sannyasi? Because sannyasi is the highest platform, what we look into this current scenario. And second, we understood the time factor, how time factor works in the material world and how time factor works in the spiritual world. So these 2 understandings we have done in today's verse. So thank you very much. I am very sorry. I think Prabhupada is also warning me. It's 9 o'clock. Thank you very much. He is also respecting the time. Srila Prabhupada ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Any comments or any question? Vanshivardhan Prabhu, please, anything you want to? Prabhuji is my Bhakti Shastri teacher and everything. Okay, so we'll conclude here. Thank you very much. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Hare Krishna.